Hey everyone, it's just me and my desktop and Lightroom today. We're going to start a new series called Post-Production Walkthroughs, where I take a shoot that I've done and I walk you through all the steps of my post-production, how I selected the photo, how I edited it, and everything in between. This one I'm going to call a basic level post-production walkthrough. There's very little retouching at all. It's more about the selection process, and that's where I really want to have a big impact for you guys, is show you how to get better selects. You probably have great photography, but you might be just choosing the wrong photo. So let's just jump right in. The first thing you want to do is start getting rid of out of focus photos you're never going to use. So switch to full view and start hitting X on any photo that you don't want in this collection. It could just be a shot that you're never going to use that's very uninteresting to you. It's okay to leave a lot of shots in because you're going to compare them in the next step and get rid of even more. So that's a good first round. So let's go and select all of our rejected photos, select them all, and delete them. You want to delete these from your disk. You never want to see these photos again. You don't want stuff that's out of focus that you're never going to use taking up space on your disk and clouding your workspace. Next thing I like to do, this is just how I like to work, is 2-star everything and then start working backwards. And I'll show you what I mean. 2-star, show me 2 and above. So now every time I hit the number 1 key, it's going to remove the shot from my view. And I'm only going to be left with level 2 shots. Whereas level 1 were not unusable, but not great. Here's a shot where there's too much going on, not a lot of interesting shapes. Same with these shots, there's just too much going on. The yellow is really overwhelming. This finger sticking out is kind of odd. This thumb sticking out is odd as well. So there we go. We're down to 23 shots. I think we started with about 46. So we've already cut it in half by removing anything unusable and anything that wasn't something we want to compare and start to look at what a best shot is. So I'm going to switch to a quick slideshow and just talk to you for a minute about a few things. So the goal of every photo shoot is to get something for your portfolio, something for Instagram, something that you would want to hang on your wall. You don't really care about the other shots. You want to really narrow it down to only the best work. And you can have a couple, but in the end, it should only really be one, or else you're going to overwhelm your viewers and they're going to think that you're all about this one shoot. I want to share some creative thoughts on how I get better creative shoots. When we did this finger painting exercise with my daughter, I did not set out to have a photo shoot at all. But my gut told me this is something I should really capture. And luckily, I always have my camera handy when she's around because I know she's going to do something interesting. So she started playing with the paint and feeling it in her hands and squishing it. And there's all of these cool colors. And I know for myself that when I see high contrast, crazy colors, or just something natural happening, I really want to capture it. This is just my style of shooting. And you've got to listen to your gut and what it's telling you because it's going to tell you what your creative style is. The next thing I want to mention is that this is a reproducible shoot. It didn't cost any money or very little money. Paint is not that expensive. So I actually did this shoot twice. I didn't like my results the first time, so I redid it with her the next day and I got even better shots. I kind of posed her once or twice so that I could get the right position and I moved myself. But keep trying until you get the right shot. Don't just accept the first round or the first try. Really push yourself, especially if you can reproduce a shoot at no cost. Why not? So the next stage is the comparison stage. You're going to have a lot of shots that look similar, and we've got to start paring them down. So we do that through comparing. Let's compare like shots that are very similar together and try to eliminate the ones that are not as strong. And I'll explain and help you discover why. In this shot, I was trying to achieve a ball with the hands. So whenever her fingers stuck out like this, it was less desirable for the look I was trying to achieve. So I'm going to cut this shot here. And I'm going to do that by pressing the 1 key. With some shots, they're going to seem similar, but you'll need to zoom in to see which one was more in focus and is going to give you the better result down the road. This is why it's really important to do the compare tool and zoom in. With these two shots, I much prefer having this dimension as opposed to straight on. It just gives a more interesting look that draws your eye in. With these two, when the hand is lower in the frame, it actually removes this black area here, which is very distracting. Sometimes you could spend a lot of time comparing shots, only to find one that trumps all of them. Here's an example of that. We were doing multiple selects of this look here, and then this shot came in, and it's got all of this nice different colors, really enhancing the shot overall. The blues, the purples, the yellows, stuff that the other shots didn't have. This is going to win over all of them. I like the higher angle I got in this shot, and how the paint doesn't get cut off at the end like this one does. It gives me a bit more to look at, and it draws my eye into the shot. This shot's kind of weird where the pinky is sticking out, and there's so much white space with nothing going on. It's just kind of boring. And it's smack dab in the middle, and it's too small. There's too much extra space all around, whereas this fills more of the frame. With these shots, this hand has a bit of an arc on an angle, whereas this one's a little bit more up and down, and I like it a little bit better. As well, the arm comes out a little bit farther, drawing my eye into the shot, whereas this one's a little closer in, not as much going on there. And there's a whole bunch of black space here, whereas this is a little bit smaller. I don't have to crop in as much, and I can keep the shot higher res. It's also interesting how there's paint going on here, but there's nothing going on here, so we can cut this shot easily. I seem to have had the camera tilted in this shot, and everything looks like it's sliding down. This one's a little bit more level, so I'm going to go with this one. This shot had a higher angle, and it got more of the board and the paper and the paint in the shot, whereas this one's lower, and you can't see as much. It's also more out of focus, if you look here. And the hand doesn't seem to be really painting at this moment, whereas this one's in a physical activity of painting. This is the stronger shot. So now that I've seen everything a few times, when you go back, you'll notice the weaker shots, and you can eliminate them right away, because you know you have a stronger shot with more colors, more in focus, and a better pose. You can also use survey mode to view 3 or more shots if there's a difficult selection to make, but they're going to be a little bit smaller, so I don't recommend using it too often. But let's look at these 3 shots. The one on the left has this finger poking out into her face, and it looks very strange. The one on the right is nice, because her fingers are not obstructing the face, and there's a lot of room around it, giving it a nice frame. Here this is very tight, and it creates tension between the finger and the face. So I'm going to remove this shot, and this is my winner out of the batch. This one was a hard decision because I really loved how the fingers were placed in this shot. But the face was cut out. There's something that the eyes bring to this shot, looking at the hands, that adds a whole nother element that I just can't avoid. The hands are also in a better position overall in the frame. These ones are very high up and in the center. They don't fill the screen as much, and they're out of focus. So now I've got 6 great shots. I don't need to spend a lot of time showing you how to edit these because they're already really great. The lighting is on point, the color's on point, the focus is on point. I would just touch them all up very slightly, bringing up the exposure, the sharpness, and the saturation just a little bit. The whole point of this exercise was to find out which is the best shot. And we still have one more step. We have to find out which one we're going to post. They're all good in their own way, but one of them stands out above the rest. So let's take a look at why. Let's open up all of our shots in Photoshop really quick and take a look at what's the best one. This shot I really like because it's the reason I did this photo shoot. I wanted to see her hands grip together like this, with the paint smushing between them. But the problem is the face is not in the shot, and I really fell in love with the other shot where the face is there, and you'll see why in a second. But I'm going to cut this shot from my favorites. Here we have just a single hand, where a lot of the other shots had two hands, creating a motion and an action, and something's just missing from this shot that's in the two-hand shot, so this is going to get cut. Although we have two hands in this shot, there's a lot of white space going on, and I wish there's a bit more painting going on in multiple different colors, and most of this shot is out of focus. I love the feeling, but it doesn't showcase the best of my work, so we're going to cut this. This is a really great shot, but the eyes are missing in this photo that draw the viewer in, as we saw from the other shot. As well, this finger here just looks kind of funny sitting in between. It doesn't quite belong anywhere. It looks like it's disconnected from the rest of the hand. So we're going to cut this. This shot I really like. I have just one wish. I wish there was more color on the artboard. And I wish that she painted in all of this area here. If all of this was filled in with paint, I think this might have been the winner. Here we have our winner with the eyes in the shot that are engaging the hands, creating motion and interest. Her face is nicely framed by her hands right here, which draws the eyes in. There's all this beautiful color going on that your eye bounces around to. The yellow is nicely distributed around the shot, not overwhelming the viewer, but actually making them bounce around to follow it. There's so much going on. The composition's great, the color's great. The focus is all on her hands and the paint here, but there's still a subject matter that brings a human element to it. So this is our winner. This is what we're going to post. And I hope you learned something in how to get to this point. You can't just open up 40 shots and then pick this one. It takes time to go through the motions and discover why something is the best shot. I really hope this helps you achieve a better result in your portfolio, because I know you're already shooting this stuff. It's just a matter of selecting it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this and learned something, please hit like and subscribe. Visit demaninphotography.com or my Instagram for even more info. Bye for now.